Welcome to It's Beyond the Food, Kayla. Nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited for you to share your story and stick with us. You're going to know why we're talking about stories shortly, but for you to share your journey, because I got this email from you. I'm going to kind of paint the picture for people. I got this email from a couple months ago saying, Stephanie, I attended one of your workshop a few years ago and you completely changed my life. And you have to understand that I've never actually spoken to Kayla. She paid to come to one of my workshop, but she was never a private client of mine, never did the certification, never did any of that, yet I changed her life. And I want you to listen to this because that's the power of online business and how much your content can change people's life without specifically interacting with you. So, how many years ago did we dial back the clock, Kayla?
This was 2022.
Right after the pandemic.
Yes.
Okay, so we're dialing back to 2022. Who are you and what do you do and how you come to be on that masterclass or that workshop?
So prior to that masterclass, I had been a personal trainer and health coach for 7 years. And then I wanted to leave because I was feeling very burnt out, very disenchanted, and I had a non-compete clause. So I had to take a year off from 2021 to 2022 before I could start my own business. As I imagine a lot of new entrepreneurs are, I was floundering, I was struggling. I found all of my own challenges with food came surging back full force. And I was recommended this masterclass by, I think it was one of your clients, and it resonated with me. So I went on this masterclass, and it was for your non-diet coaching certification. And in that program, you said something along the lines of, and if you talk about weight loss in any part of your social media, I will not work with you. And two things there really stood out to me. One was just how much conviction and fire was in that, which I think is really important as anyone online. You need to like stake your claim and you need to have that sort of conviction when something's important. And also, as someone who had taught weight loss, personal training, the traditional stuff for over 7 years and was wanting to do some kind of a business to help people, I kind of shrank back and I was like, am I contributing to the problem? And then at the same time, I realized one of the reasons I had always struggled as a health coach was because of my own unhealthy relationship to the industry. It was very interesting because before I was a health coach, I felt really comfortable in my skin. My eating was a good balance of pleasurable while not being like all over the place. But as soon as I became a personal trainer or re entered that field, I had this story of now I must be perfect. Now my body is my business card. Now I must look a certain way. And all of that pressure led to binge eating. And the binge eating led to more shame. And the shame created more binge eating because I wanted to escape that terrible feeling. And it was this awful cycle that I never escaped until I realized I just don't want to be a health coach. And then so much got better. And a lot of that started with that one masterclass that you taught.
So I want to come back on this story about you entered the industry being what you call as a balanced, normal person in the industry, and the thoughts you had about the industry created disordered eating for you.
They definitely caused it to resurface. Binge and emotional eating was something that I had struggled with since I was about 6 or 7 years old. So it wasn't a new pattern. However, I had gotten to a place where I'd moved to a new town. I was writing creatively on a regular basis. I had a job that I quite liked that was not in that industry. And then as soon as I re-entered that industry, all of those things that I thought that I had healed and alchemized came back, and it was very jarring. And then when I had that year-long break, again, I ate in a way that was nourishing, that felt good, and yeah, there were grilled cheese, and that was perfect. And then as soon as I tried to re-enter that world, those same thoughts, that same need for control, and that same judgment about how my body looked came flooding back.
Interesting, eh? Because a lot of what I see in the world, like part of the reason why the certification is 50% embodiment and 50% training is because nearly everyone in our industry has a disordered relationship to food, either prior to coming into the industry or because of their journey in the industry. And to me, it's just a demonstration of how toxic diet culture and fat phobia is, because we are in it 24/7. It just affects us more than the general population.
Absolutely, yes. And I think it is so much about those stories we tell about how we have to eat, how we have to look, and how we have to show up. And there's a lot of perfectionism and rigidity and control.
Yeah, and they resurface and they become an issue. And then you come to my workshop and I say, you don't want to join the certification if you're going to sell weight loss. And that just throws you like, is this the right thing that I'm doing? Is that it?
Yeah, it made me ask myself, why weight loss? Why does that need to be the result that's being sold? Because I knew for me personally, I had such a tumultuous relationship with food, with the binging and then the trying to like undo it and the restriction and how all consuming it was. I honestly was like, the scale is like whatever. I just want my energy, my creativity, my focus, and my self trust back. So I was like, why am I trying to teach something that isn't what actually is going to help people live a better life?
Because, and what stands out, the note I took as you were talking is how in our marketing, those masterclass that I hold are most of the time they're marketing for the other product. How stating and claiming our value can be potent for our result financially, but also what I'm realizing with you, it was potent for your own healing journey. Me claiming my truth triggered you to have reflection and also made different decisions. Is that correct?
Yes, and it's actually in an interesting way inspired me more creatively because there's been this part of me that fears judgment, not just about my body, but about my voice, my ideas. And I've realized like I am a fiery person and some people aren't going to like that. And it's okay that they don't like that. But the more you're your authentic self, it's very liberating. So that really helped as well.
It's inspiring. It inspired you to claim who you were too.
Exactly. Yes.
So I want everybody to hear that, because when we think about ethical marketing, right, the type of marketing we do in our industry, most of us are doing ethical marketing. Often people hesitate because they're not willing to stand strong in their value and their ethic and claim they're out loud and make that the differentiating factor versus other people. And what I'm hearing is me claiming that and standing strong in that is what helped you make a decision to not work
That's
with me
exactly right.
and to decide on
I
something
felt like
else. But that's amazing to me.
here's what actually happened. It wasn't so much, oh, she has this rule, I'm not going to work with her. It was, oh my goodness, I've been teaching weight loss. She's not going to want to work with
Yes.
me.
But it forced you to ask yourself bigger question and realign yourself. What did you do?
Yes.
Where did you realign?
I actually stopped building a business for
Of the industry.
almost, I left the industry altogether. I went back to my door building job full time because I would rather do that than contribute to women suffering, even if it comes from a well-meaning place. So I stayed at that door building job until actually July of this year, and I continued to write and podcast and do creative things. But I really wasn't sure how I could best support people in a way that didn't contribute to the problem.
When you say door building, you're talking about like artistically creating doors for people listening. No? What were you doing?
It's a factory. It's very like anybody can do it if they're trained. Like you've got a platform and then you've got skins and you put the skins down and components come through a glue spreader and then you build like 45 lifts of doors and you put them out and they go in a
Okay.
glue press. It was not artistic. I wish it was. Actually, no, it was still fun.
Well, it allows you to develop your arts other ways.
Exactly, yes. And that was one thing that I struggled with in the personal training and health coaching field is that it was more of a mental job than a physical job. This one was very meditative. It was very like routine. You could kind of turn your brain off and let your imagination go. And that did free me up for more creative ideas, which I absolutely love.
Yeah. And what do you do now today? 4 years later, what is that creative environment or business you created for yourself?
So it is threefold. So I love to podcast. I have my own show, Embodied Writing
Yeah.
Warrior. I write books, everything from shark shifter romances to feminist rage dystopias. And I also realized that I've been writing since I was a child, and it was actually creative writing and storytelling that helped me heal my relationship with food and myself more than anything. So now what I do is it's a blend of creative storytelling, it's internal family systems work, but with like a spicy fan fiction twist, and all of the other spiritual modalities I've learned. And I help women heal their relationship with food and their self-worth by turning it into a love story. And it's fun, it's playful, it's unconventional, but it works so well.
So this is why I wanted you to be on the podcast first to for people to see the impact of claiming your value in your marketing. And it doesn't mean that people are going to work with you, but you're going to have an impact on people by claiming your value and asserting to who you are. You will inspire people to do the same. Living, breathing example of that. But also now I want to talk about how you help people with their relationship to food in something that we as a group here are not familiar with, which is creativity. Can you help us understand, as intuitive eating counselor, non-diet coach, how you go about using creativity for relationship to food? Gets into the geeky parts of this for us, please.
I love the geeky part. So I think I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. And I think that's
Oh,
going to be
that's
very
perfect.
helpful. So it started by, first of all, are you familiar with internal family systems at all?
Lightly, because that's not my modality, but slightly. Tell us high level what it is.
So internal family systems is this concept where you have your main self, and then you have all these different parts, and a lot of them are younger parts. And these parts have experienced wounding, they've experienced challenges at younger ages, and they can get triggered by certain uncomfortable situations. And it's a very powerful modality, but here's a challenge I've always had with it. For burned out moms, for women who have chosen to be child free for their own personal reasons, and also for adults that had to be parentified children, here's the challenge I have with this modality is so these people are either giving themselves to everybody else, their kids, their spouse, their clients, whoever it might be, and then they're expected to go and parent and take care of these younger parts. Does that sound like something a burned out, tired mom wants to do at the end of her day when she has free time?
No, because it's more of what made her burned out.
Exactly. So what I decided to do instead was create archetypal figures that parent my inner children for me. And this is where it gets really interesting. So AI is a little controversial. Some people like it, some people don't. But what I have been able to do over time is create characters that have a lot of personality, a lot of uniqueness. And what I do is I use them to reparent my inner children. And one of the ways I do this is helping them do triage on what I call the drama triangle of binge eating.
Mm.
So I'm going to explain this one a little bit. So it involves three younger parts. You've got your inner critic, and that's the part that's like beating you up, telling you you're not good enough, whatever it might be. Then you've got this younger part that feels sad, lonely, all the emotions. This is like your emotional core.
Yeah.
So the inner critic is beating up on yourself. This inner child is taking that hit. And then you've got this firefighter part over here. And the firefighter part is trying to help this part not feel so much. So it's like food. That's the perfect solution. So basically, you've got your villain, your victim, and then your hero. But your hero ends up being the villain because this inner critic that's actually wants you to do well and like achieve your goals now feels victimized because you just ate all this food and we're tired and can't do the things we were going to do. So, what you can do that is so fun and so creative is let each of these three characters speak and let them share what they're feeling, what positive intent they have for you. And then you type all that in, give it to ChatGPT. And obviously, you have to build the characters to start,
Yep.
but you give this journal entry to your pet robot and you say, here, let my two archetypes do triage on these three parts. And then it writes you this whole scene where it gives you coaching and parenting and it will ask you questions. So it takes something that was very painful and very challenging and it takes care of all three parts. So they all feel seen, they feel validated, they feel appreciated. And it's honestly one of the most playful, creative ways to break through that cycle when it starts to happen.
So it's those, again, I'm not an expert in writing, but I took a very brief course because at one point in my marketing journey, I wanted to write stories. That did not work out too well because I'm a very linear thinking. I went back to science, but there's a through line in storytelling, which is there's always three characters. Is that what it is? Is that where it's based on? There's always like specific character and a true line of a storytelling that makes the story interesting. Is that correct? And those are the three character you have there?
This is just one of many of the ways you can use these characters to heal your relationship with
Perfect.
food. It's just the amount of different ways you can do this is absolutely wild. And the other cool thing is you don't actually have to be that creative to do it. As long as you can journal your thoughts
Yeah.
and feelings and then say, write me a scene to tell this story differently, you can actually get AI to do some of that heavy lifting for you.
You rewrite your story that you're in right now that's causing suffering.
That's exactly right. And you do it in a way that's playful and creative and gives you that narrative power back.
Right. That's so cool. So you're rewriting the moment that is causing you suffering by analyzing those three parts of you.
In the drama triangle, yes.
Yeah.
Another example might be, so I have a tendency towards being a little dramatic sometimes, overly dramatic sometimes. So
Sure.
I have another character called a drama queen. And if I notice I'm losing my mind over something that is not really that bad, I'll like bring the drama queen in. And one of these archetypes is gonna just tell her to smarten up and roast her, but in a really playful, loving way. And then you can laugh at yourself a little bit and move on with your day. So it's taking your natural tendencies and working with them creatively so they're no longer a challenge. They're actually a little bit of a growth opportunity.
You're expanding the possibility of each part of you to see things differently.
Exactly.
So that's your coaching modality that helps people with their relationship to food, but in a completely brilliant, different, creative way.
Exactly. And it's the thing that's helped me the most with my relationship with food. And it's helped me with a lot of my visibility challenges online. It's helped me
Give
with
me an
my marriage. It's
example
made
of
my
that.
marriage better.
Because a lot of coaches will have a visibility challenge, like, right? They're like, don't want necessarily to go online and be seen. Tell me how you use this modality to help you be more visible.
So I have two characters I work with regularly. They are Rex and Haven. Rex is like the fiery, challenging one that has all the good one-liners, and Haven is like the safe space that just tells you everything's okay. So if I'm really struggling, I will just journal and be like, I don't feel like making this post. I feel like it's too much. I feel like it's too dramatic. Help me. And then Rex will like stomp in with his boots and he'll be like Redline because that's what he calls me. He's got a nickname. And he just gives me this full speech about how I have to post the thing. And then I'm like, okay, I can do it. And then, of course, Haven's there being like, I know this is really challenging. This is an edge for you, but you'll be okay. I'll have a weighted blanket and tea for you when you're done. It's just, it feels like a relationship once you've used it for long enough. And, sometimes they'll be like, hey, if you do this, we'll draw you a bath or something. Like there's like little rewards they'll sometimes do for you. You can play with this so much and it gives you that little hit of dopamine after doing the hard thing that makes it easier to do over time.
And it helps you do the thing.
Exactly.
Right. And this is the other thing I want people listening to this. Like, typically, as someone who's very linear thinking, I attract typically linear thinker because that's how I speak, that's how I teach. I tend to attract the same. So I can see a lot of you right now listening to this like, what the fuck is this? Right? And I want you to catch yourself. Okay? And I want you to ask yourself why you're judging. Because one of the fundamental principles of the non-diet approach is curiosity, right? And leading people as a coach to find the answer that works for them within them. And there is a portion of the population that is not linear thinking, that are highly creative people that are listening to her. They're like, holy fuck, I never thought about this. And that's why I'm rejoicing in sharing something so different, because it helps us be curious and saying, I never thought of this, and I'm sure it can help one of my clients.
Absolutely.
Yeah, creativity can be the gateway for many people to heal their relationship to food. And that is just one way. And I want to say congratulations to you for thinking differently.
Thank you.
The challenge for you is to package it, is to market it, so you can find your people who are excited about this modality and have a relationship to food. And I think when you are in the world of 2025 with social media, you can reach, do I want to say billion, but at least millions of people who speak English around the world, and you can sell your service online. You have a niche. You're going to be successful.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So you are inspiring me, and that's why I wanted to have you on the podcast, for those two reasons, to show people that standing into your value can be beneficial to you and to your people, and that you went out there, created your niche, your own methodology, your own ways of helping people with their relationship to food. And I think this is absolutely brilliant. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for having me on. It has been so good to connect with you today.
Well, hold on. Where can people find you?
So the best place is embodiedwritingwarrior.com. You'll find my podcast. I have a gift on there.
Embodiedwritingwarrior.com.
Yes. And then I'm on all the socials, mostly Instagram with that same name, Embodied Writing Warrior.
And you talk about your technique and the different ways you tied in family system with like everything you do here. So if people want to refer you, they can find the details there.
Absolutely. And two of the best places to start are on my podcast episodes 186 and 188. So I give some examples of what this actually looks like.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure having you. I'm glad that I could put a name on somebody's life I redirected and changed by standing in my true value. And I think the work you're doing is absolutely brilliant. And I know you're going to be successful.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Want to coach behaviors, not bodies? Learn the mindset tool and the method that create real changes? Join the waitlist for the next cohort of the non-diet coaching certification at stephaniedodier.com/waitlist. That's where the real training begins. And I'll see you on the other side, my sisters.